it's rare to have basically a full week at this point in the season. Have you been able to use it to do anything different?
Well, it's the first time since we started playing games that we've had more than 2 days in a row of practice. So I think that's really important because there's so many things that we have to clean up. There's so many, details of game management that we haven't had enough opportunity to coach. So it gives opportunity to do that, but we're not practicing any differently. I mean, we're going to be who we are every day in terms of how we approach it and what we demand every day in practice. But it has been nice not to be in preparation mode, because it feels like it's been game prep after game prep, and this is the first time we've had the ability to string some practices together.
Is 9 games a big enough sample size to get a sense of some broader view things, whether it's statistics or style of play or anything like that?
Yeah, I do think as you get to, 3 weeks into it, multiple games, you can start to formulate some opinions on things that were difficult to figure out throughout the preseason or the summer. It'll continue to change. I don't think we'll make any true decisions on a lot of things that have been up in the air, but you are able to see some trends and able to start coaching some things specifically and addressing some details.
Your first Crosstown Shootout, are you hearing it every day? I know you said it's the number one thing you hear is fans asking you about Xavier. How much of a sense do you have?
I've heard it every day since the day I got here, which is neat, right? I've always, and I've been really clear on this from day one, rivalries energize me. They excite me. I've really enjoyed playing in big rivalries as a player. I've really enjoyed coaching in them as a coach. And this is one of the greatest rivalries in sports, so I'm going to embrace it and dive 2 feet into it. It's a big week, and we're excited about it. You can feel the energy within our program.
Being part of maybe the biggest rivalry in college basketball in Duke, North Carolina, does this rivalry make it down there as far as reverberating and making any noise from up in Cincinnati?
Well, I haven't participated in this yet, so to compare and contrast would be unfair. Maybe this is the best rivalry in college basketball. I'll get back to you guys on Sunday, but I'm a pretty outgoing, social person, and I have a lot of friends and things. But during the season, I shut it down. My family doesn't hear from me as much. My friends, not because I don't care, don't love everybody, but just get so focused into our team. So I'll be honest, I don't know what a lot of people are saying or thinking outside of the people that are on this court right now and in our locker room. And I don't get a lot of real concern with that during the season. It's kind of just, focused in on what we have to do today to get better.
Playing in a hostile environment in Oxford, how do you think or how do you hope that environment will prepare you for Saturday night?
Well, I think anytime you play on the road, in a loud environment, a hostile environment, I think it's good for your development as a team. And anytime you find a way to have some success in that environment, it's good for your growth as a team. I'm sure for the Xavier Cincinnati game, I'm sure that that's a different level than anywhere we could play on the road, okay? But I think anytime you played on the road in front of hostile fans, it'll help you grow. And, quite frankly, with the pandemic, it was nice just to have that opportunity because it hasn't happened in a couple years for a lot of these guys.
Have you leaned on Dermar or Kyle or Matty Miller, any of those guys on staff to get a sense of what this environment's going to be like?
Yeah, we have a great culture amongst our staff. We get along. We like to be around each other. So certainly we've had that kind of banner back and forth since we got, hey, tell us what it's really like over at Xavier and, that kind of thing. And I'll tell you, DJ has his perspective. Matt Miller has the fan, growing up here perspective, and we've heard it from a lot of people. But yeah, listen, we know going to Norwood, going to Xavier is going to be a new experience, but we're going to lean into it. We're excited about it.
Wes, would you rather play this during the conference part of the season or get it out of the way early?
Honestly, I haven't thought about it. It's one of those things that I have no say in when we play the game. We're going to lean into it, embrace it. whenever it's played. They want to play it in July, I'll be excited to play the game. You know, we want to play it in March, we'll be excited to play the game. So, you know, if this is the tradition, I'm all for it.
Just on a basketball side, what have you seen from them? I'm sure you've dived into them, and they've got some big wins here early. What do you see from Xavier on the court?
You know, I've had a chance to watch them a couple times now on film. I'll certainly dive more into the scouting report over the next couple days. They're a real gifted group. You know, they play with spirit at home. I think, you know, I watched the Ohio State game last night, and they played with great effort. They're a great defensive team, and they play with real spirit in front of their home fans. Now, I haven't watched a ton, so to give a bunch of opinions, but hey, listen, they're a really good chance they're, you know, one of the top 10, 15 teams in college basketball at the end of the year. There's a real good chance that they're going to have a chance, or they'll have a real opportunity, I think, to make a run in the NCAA tournament. We know that they're a great opponent. Doesn't mean we like them a whole lot over here, but I have a lot of respect for the type of team they are and how good of a team they are this year.
Paul Scruggs is in his senior season. He's off to a hot start. You mentioned Paul Scruggs and Xavier being off to a hot start. Talk about what it's like for a senior-led Xavier team, and how do you guys game plan for a guy like him?
Yeah, Paul's a terrific player and an experienced player, and like as you mentioned, they have some experienced guys. And you know, you're seeing that as you go through college basketball. You're seeing some experienced team have success. You know, we have some experienced guys. We're gonna have to lean on our guys that have played in big-time games and, you know, played in big-time rivalries to be able to handle that. We know that they'll be ready for that as well.
How well do you know Travis Steele? And have you guys had any conversations about this game?
No, I don't know Travis personally and haven't interacted with him.
Everyone's going to make the Duke-Carolina comparison because of your history playing there. What about as a coach? Like, Wofford was a big rival for you at UNCG. How did your approach change as a coach to a rivalry versus a player?
Yeah, I think it's been the same thing. You know, we had some great rivalries in the Southern Conference with Wofford and East Tennessee State, and I don't want to compare. That's not fair. Those rivalries didn't have the type of attention. They weren't in the same community. You know, there wasn't the history. But just in terms of the way we felt about it as a staff and as players, you know, I think we leaned into that. We embraced that. We got up for those games. You know, I'll never sit here and say it's just another game. You know, every game's important to us, but these games have a little something extra to them. And, you know, I think that's really fun as a competitor. I think it's the kind of stuff you live for.
You get just as juiced up as a coach as you did as a player when you were in those rivalry games?
It's getting hard to remember what I felt like at 18, 20 years old. But I think my personality's probably very similar. It's easy for me to get excited and get competitive, so I'm sure it's real similar. Yeah.
You mentioned you want to see better offensive execution, better rebounding on both ends of the floor. What are some other keys that you want to see against Xavier on Saturday night?
Keith, we just want to win possessions, man. Let's win the next possession. I don't care how we do it. I don't care if it's pretty. We just want to be a team that is consumed with what we can do to win the next possession. And then whatever happens in that possession, be consumed what we can do to win the next one after that. So I don't care the nature of how you do that. I care more about the mentality.